Can you tell me the name of your game and what it's about?
The name of the game is called The Trip, and it's about a daily game going through a daily commute.
What inspired the idea behind it, and where does the concept come from?
We wanted to make sure our problem was that there's not enough trains going through Brooklyn and Queens, so we decided to make a game with like a lot of transfers to make the player really feel that they would really walk through each scene and like make sure that they think, oh my gosh, I think we should have a train station in between these long walks.
What part of making the game was most fun for you?
For me, it was mostly making the maps and the transitions.
For me, really creating the enemies and getting them to work after having lots of errors really felt satisfying.
For me, it was being able to work with my teammates and like making all the different parts of the game with other people.
And I like all the art parts from the game.
Was it working on the story, designing a unique mechanic, or something else that stood out to you?
Could you elaborate?
Like what part of making the game stood out to you the most? Actually.
Honestly, it was going into the trains because like I kind of like the obstacles they had to go through.
If you could keep improving your game, what would you add or change next?
Definitely the animations, because it's in some of my scenes, it's like all I'm doing is just standing in place and just running full sprint.
And then finally, do you see yourself making more games in the future? Why or why not?
For me, I do, because I've been doing this for some time already, so I might as well get to that.
This felt really enjoyable. I would in the future if I have extra time.
I think I could see myself making games in the future, but even if I don't, being here, like, I learned a lot of things and it helped me a lot.
I think I will make games keep on going because I like to make games and I like games.
Alright, thank you. Can you tell me the name of your game and what it's about?
So the name of our game is Platform Panic, and we chose it because the player's jumping from platform to platform, and the player's supposed to be a high schooler, so they're panicking to get to school on time.
What inspired the idea behind it, and where did the concept come from?
Well, we got the concept from, as NYC kids, and how the metro has always had its problems when it comes to safety on platforms. So that's basically what made the concept to have, to show it within our game of how. Wait, oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm losing myself. Okay. Of how safe each area would be if there was safety platforms within the metro.
What part of making the game was the most fun for you?
Well, for me, I did most of the drawing part, and that kind of was fun for me because it showed my creativity and how I can help them with that creativity.
Definitely coding the scripts.
Yeah, me and Kai both made a lot of the sprites, so that was really fun. Making pixel sprites are really fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed level design, immunity, using the tile palette to create platforms and levels.
Was it working on the story, designing a unique mechanic, or something else that stood out to you?
I'd say I really liked how, for some parts of the level, how instead of just trying to jump onto the platform, you can jump through it. And on Kai's level, you added a sewer system, water, and I thought that was fun.
Oh yeah, that was incredible. That was nice. I like that.
If you can keep improving on your game, what would you add or change next?
I would add a train that comes more. I would make upgrades so that the player can upgrade and more customization so that the player can make changes to the game to suit them.
One of tracks. Based off of the triggers, it would allow a train to come in and collide with them, as graphic as that is. But we weren't able to do that. So if possible, maybe one day we could actually make that change and add it if we could.
I would add it so that right now we just have an Omni card as teleportation, but I would add it so that you need a certain amount of coins to actually be able to access that Omni card so that you can complete it, because it's kind of like in real life you have to spend money to buy an Omni card to use it. So I would add that.
Yeah, allowing a backtracking mechanic where you have to go back.
And then finally, do you see yourself making more games in the future? Why or why not?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm already making another game myself using RPG Maker, so I really have that passion to continue making games, so I'm definitely going to keep doing that.
I would say yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed like art, like drawing the sprites and like having like I guess like our vision actually makes sense, because I think compared with like the time we had, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, it's fun. I would definitely continue making games. I can show it to my friends. It's like a fun process, and then you can play your games.
Yeah, for me, I feel like I would also make games on my own because, like I said, it's like I have the freedom myself to build wherever I want. So it's like it shows my creativity.
All right, thank you. All right, can you tell me the name of your game and what it's about?
The name of our game is Stand Clear, and it's a narrative / tower defense game where you play as this empty employee and you have to set up barriers in these 3 stations, and if you achieve a certain amount of barriers, you will pass the game, and if you don't, there will be many casualties and you win the game.
What inspired the idea behind it, and where did the concept come from?
What inspired the idea behind it was when we were researching about transportation, and we realized that in New York there's like an issue with the barriers, as like the barriers are really ineffective, and we wanted to make a game to like convey that message.
What part of making the game was most fun for you?
I was the main artist and writer for the game, so I'd say that the story, coming up with the storyline and like characters' designs were probably like the most fun for me.
Was working on the story, designing a unique mechanic, or something else that stood out to you?
For me, there was something that particularly stood out since I didn't have any special rule really. But what stood out was just whatever parts were the simplest. I feel like those parts I enjoy the most, so those parts stood out to me the most.
If you can keep improving on your game, what would you add or change next?
I would add a mechanic of, because right now you have to play all 3 levels before you can win. I would add a mechanic where between each levels you'll see an assessment of how well you did, and whether or not you did bad, you can move on to the next level, or you have to replay over.
And then, do you guys see yourself making more games in the future? Why or why not?
No, it takes too much time.
I feel like for me it depends. Game development is a lot harder than I expected it to be. At the same time, some aspects were fun, and like I did like learn a lot. So maybe if I have like a lot of time for it, then
It's also maybe for me, it's game development is like a lot harder than I thought. Like debugging everything is like such a haywire, it was confusing and messy, but it was fun at the same time. So perhaps if I'm interested again and I have the time to debug, I'll go there, right?
For me, it's also maybe, but like I'm more interested in like visual novel type of games, right? So if I were to create a game in the future, I don't think I would use Unity specifically to like create a game like that. Like I'd probably use like Ren'Py or something.
Great, thank you. Can you tell me the name of your game and what it's about?
So the name of the game is Homeless Hero Quest, and the point of the game is to pick up homeless people and bring them back to the shelter. So basically the game is to help move homeless people from the train station to allow more people to use the trains.
What inspired the idea behind it, and where did the concept come from?
it was inspired from like the recent increase in congestion prices. So we're trying to allow more people to use the trains, which will help reduce traffic in New York City.
What part of making the game was most fun for you?
The best part of making the game was the player pickup, because it was like a unique mechanic in the game. Like anyone else didn't really have that.
Was it working on the story, designing a unique mechanic, or something else that stood out to you the most?
Nah, not really.
If you can keep improving your game, what would you add or change next?
Well, if we kept on improving our game, we would probably add sound and because our game didn't really have music or anything like that, so I think we should have implemented sound. Probably fixed a bunch of bugs that we had. We probably just did a bunch of play testing to see how people felt, and if anything, we just changed the process.
And finally, do you see yourself making more games in the future? Why or why not?
Yeah. Mainly just for fun. So I can practice more.
I would say yeah. For if I want to pursue it for computer science or something like that, I think that would help.
Probably because it seemed like an easy way to make money.
I'll just do it on the side for fun.
I would say yeah, because I think having basic beginner coding skills might be important for different internships I may come across in the future.
All right, thank you. Can you tell me the name of your game and what it's about?
The game of our name is Citi Bike Haven, and it's about optimizing income in order to get the most money. And it's a tycoon game, and it's formatted in a way so that you just step on buttons in order to increase your money.
What inspired the idea behind it, and where did the concept come from?
The concept of the tycoon game came from some various different games, such as Roblox, and I tried to implement concepts that would make it easy enough for us to create this game and have it run without any bugs.
What part of making the game was most fun for you?
The part that was the most fun was for me is since I was a scripter, the scripting part was pretty fun because I got to delve into multiple areas in which I could control the income of the game.
Was it working on the story, designing a unique mechanic, or something else that stood out to you?
The most
What stood out to you the most in the game,
what stood out to me the most was mainly the income part because that took really long to implement, and there were many different challenges that we faced during it, such as creating different modifiers like potions.
If you can keep improving your game, what would you add or change next?
If I can improve my game, I would definitely try to add more content to it and reach more of my stretch goals, such as adding weather mutations that would fluctuate the income, but we didn't really have time to implement that.
And then finally, do you see yourself making more games in the future? Why or why not?
I do see myself making games in the future because I find it really fun, and every single aspect of game development, I do enjoy it.
I personally don't see myself making games in the future, but I think I could do something computer science related because it's something rich with mathematics, and I'm more passionate about that kind of thing.
For me, it's a no. I'm not into building games. I rather play.
I don't see myself making games in the future. I'm personally more of a player, not a maker. So.
All right. Can you tell me the name of your game and what it's about?
It's called Rush City, and it's about mental health and stress in subway neighborhoods.
What inspired the idea behind it, and where did the concept come from?
Well, I didn't really have an idea, but getting into I was just listening to videos on just different topics. I just liked making it, so I just continued.
What part of making the game was most fun for you?
Having the story, because it had two endings, a bad one and a good one, where the main character dies in the bad one, and in the good one, the main character survives.
Was it working on the story, designing a unique mechanic, or something else that stood out to you?
Designing the story and the unique mechanic. I think that was very partial to our game.
If you can keep improving your game, what would you add or change next?
Probably changing the levels up a little bit and the point of view. I feel like that would add a very good concept to the game.
And then finally, do you see yourself making more games in the future? Why or why not?
Probably not. I've lost way too much sleep before this.
Me neither. Probably not.
I think I would. I think this program and the game itself taught me a lot. I feel like even if I may not have a career in it, it was fun. And it's something to broaden my horizons.
All right, thank you. Can you tell me the name of your game and what it's about?
The name of the game is nothing that is called the A Train, and it's about a train racing AI train. And we take inspiration in the delay of the subway train of MIT.
What inspired the idea behind it, and where did the concept come from?
We inspired the upgrade the trains of the New York City, like other countries, Japan and China.
What part of making the game was most fun for you?
Probably just designing the levels and basically making all the obstacles and then implementing we painted prefabs and we painted all these pixel art and those were pretty fun.
Was it working on the story, designing a unique mechanic, or something else that stood out to you?
Definitely the mechanics, jumping as a train, that seemed pretty cool to me because that's how you jump over obstacles and stuff. So yeah, that was the most fun thing to me that stood out.
If you can keep improving your game, what would you add or change next?
I would say probably adding in roll borders. So if you fall, you just don't have to restart the entire game. And also making so the enemy train can actually shoot something at you, like a bullet, to make it seem a little more fun.
And then finally, do you see yourself making more games in the future? Why or why not?
Probably not. Only because I feel like making the game wasn't really as fun as trying to code and making everything work. So I might go into software development more.
I don't think so. No, for sure not.
For me, I'm not too sure because I want to explore my options first.
I don't think so. I think I'll probably do the same thing as Eric. I'll just go into software development instead.
I guess I want to go to game development because I wanna go to the engineering subjects.
All right, thank you. Can you tell me the name of your game and what it's about?
So the name of our game is Gridlock. It's about basically you're the mayor of New York City and you're wanting to help your city and improve it and get a certain score by lowering pollution, traffic, and increasing revenue and happiness.
What inspired the idea behind it, and where did the concept come from?
The idea behind it was based off of our research project. We really wanted to find something with congestion pricing that didn't completely throw it out the window. So I thought a Plague Inc. style game, because that's kind of what I play when I don't have any internet, like on the subway or something. So I wanted to make a game like that.
What part of making the game was the most fun for you?
Well, I would say making the different problem scenes, because you have to as the mayor, you have to solve the problems that your city has, right? So making the problem scenes and then figuring out what could the player choose as a solution, right? And also incorporate congestion pricing as another factor. So you have so many different factors going on at the same time, and you just it just combines into the game. And I like how that happened.
Was it working on the story, designing a unique mechanic, or something else that stood out to you?
I think it was both like making the mechanics and what's the first one?
Working on the story.
Yeah, I think it was the story and the mechanics was like that brought like everything like the game together, like the art, storyline, and like how it works like, in general.
If you can keep improving your game, what would you add or change next?
If we were to keep improving the game, I'd add like more cutscenes, more story, like more dialogue, so that way the player can like really like feel the experience of being a player.
And then finally, do you see yourself making more games in the future? Why or why not?
Me personally, I don't really see myself making too many more games in the future. I kind of want to go more into like software engineering, not really game development, but I would love to make them in my free time.
I would say the same thing because I also like the idea of software engineering. And if I do make a game in the future, I would probably want it to be like a lot more pristine. So I would have more people and more time.
I also agree with that. Not doing much with game making in the future. Maybe like some with my other friends that hang out with like outside of like school and everything like that. But not really going into game making in the future.
I could get interested because it looks pretty fun, but maybe that's our plan for another future.
Can you tell me the name of your game and what it's about?
Metro Mayhem, and it's about a player, which is a cop in a subway, who gets chased by a rat, and the job for the player is to avoid the rat at any cost, and to go through the obstacles that we provided in the game. And the game is mostly about that, and there are spikes that you should avoid, and that's really it.
What inspired the idea behind it and where did the concept come from?
Well, the game franchise Metroid is where we really took most of our inspiration from, because in Metroid, we use like the slide and dash mechanic in our game. In Metroid, instead of sliding like to get under small paths, Samus has a morph ball. And then also instead of like the dash that our cop has, Samus has like a speed boost to like go through like walls. And instead of that, we just decided to like make it our own by making a slide and dash mechanic.
What part of making the game was most fun for you?
I'd say programming. That was a lot of fun. Same with the animations. I had a good time making those.
Was it working on the story, designing a unique mechanic, or something else that stood out to you?
I think it was mechanics, and our mechanics were pretty unique compared to the rest. You had a sliding and dashing mechanic that would let the player like dash across the map or crouch across the map to avoid certain obstacles or make the game faster for them.
If you can keep improving your game, what would you add or change next?
Probably more levels to make the game like more fun and playable and more complex. So it's like more intense as you go on.
And then finally, do you see yourself making more games in the future? Why or why not?
I would say yes, like as a hobby. It's fun making it, but I feel like I want to do it as like a job.
For me, I think game programming is actually pretty fun. It was like kind of like it was hard for me to learn at first. Speak a little louder. It was like at first I found it like kind of like boring to splash and talk about the lessons, but then I really started focusing on the slides, everything it taught us. It really all started like making sense. You just have to like really put your mind.
For me, I probably would make more games as a hobby, but I wouldn't mind continue it as a career option. I definitely consider like computer science.
I would
now let's go back to change again.
maybe not in my freshman career, but this program has gave me ideas to go towards the field of computer science, but not particularly gaming as a whole.
All right, thank you.